Money Trees. Chapter 1. The Discovery. In the year 2147, humanity made a discovery that would change the course of history: the existence of money trees. These peculiar trees, found in the remote jungles of the Amazon, bore leaves that resembled currency notes. Scientists were baffled by their origin and properties, but one thing was clear: these leaves were indistinguishable from real money. Governments around the world quickly took control of these trees, establishing strict regulations to manage their growth and distribution. The trees were relocated to secure facilities, guarded by armed forces and monitored by advanced surveillance systems. The promise of unlimited wealth was tempered by the need for careful management to prevent economic chaos. Chapter 2. The New Economy. With the advent of money trees, the global economy underwent a radical transformation. Governments formed the International Monetary Consortium, IMC, to oversee the distribution of money tree leaves. Each country received a quota based on its population and economic needs, and the leaves were distributed to citizens through a complex system of lotteries and merit-based awards. The IMC's headquarters, located in Geneva, became the epicenter of global economic policy. Economists, scientists, and policymakers worked tirelessly to ensure that the distribution of money tree leaves did not lead to inflation or social unrest. The consortium's decisions were shrouded in secrecy, leading to widespread speculation and conspiracy theories. Chapter 3. Life in the New World. In this new world, life for ordinary citizens was a mix of opportunity and uncertainty. For some, the chance to receive money tree leaves was a ticket to prosperity. For others, it was a source of frustration and inequality. The lottery system, designed to be fair, often seemed arbitrary and capricious. In the bustling city of New Haven, a young woman named Alara found herself caught in the complexities of this new economy. Alara worked as a data analyst for the IMC, analyzing patterns in the distribution of money tree leaves. Despite her insider knowledge, she struggled to make ends meet, relying on the occasional lottery win to supplement her income. Alara's brother, Leo, was less fortunate. A talented musician, he had hoped to use his skills to secure a steady stream of money tree leaves. However, the merit-based awards favored more traditional professions, leaving artists like Leo at a disadvantage. Frustrated and disillusioned, he joined a growing movement of citizens demanding greater transparency and fairness in the distribution system. Chapter 4. The Seeds of Change. As discontent simmered beneath the surface, Alara stumbled upon a secret that could shake the foundations of the IMC. While analyzing data, she discovered irregularities in the distribution patterns, evidence that suggested manipulation at the highest levels. Determined to uncover the truth, Alara embarked on a dangerous journey to expose the corruption within the IMC. Meanwhile, Leo's involvement with the reform movement deepened. He became a charismatic leader, rallying citizens to demand change. His music became an anthem for the disenfranchised, echoing through the streets of New Haven and beyond. As Alara and Leo's paths converged, they realized that the future of the world depended on their ability to bring transparency and justice to the system. Together, they would challenge the status quo and seek to create a world where the bounty of the money trees was shared equitably by all. Chapter 5. The Hidden Network. Alara's investigation led her to a clandestine network within the IMC. This shadowy group, known as the Syndicate, was composed of high-ranking officials who manipulated the distribution of money tree leaves for personal gain. They had created a system where the rich and powerful received a disproportionate share, while ordinary citizens were left with crumbs. Determined to expose the Syndicate, Alara enlisted the help of her colleague, Marcus, a tech-savvy programmer with a knack for hacking. Together, they devised a plan to infiltrate the IMC's secure servers and gather evidence of the Syndicate's activities. It was a risky endeavor, but Alara knew it was the only way to bring about real change. Chapter 6. The Movement Grows. Meanwhile, Leo's reform movement was gaining momentum. His impassioned speeches and soulful music resonated with people from all walks of life. The movement, known as Leaves of Justice, called for transparency, accountability, and a more equitable distribution of money tree leaves. Protests erupted across major cities, with citizens demanding an end to the corruption and inequality perpetuated by the IMC. The government, feeling the pressure, attempted to placate the public with promises of reform, but the people were no longer willing to accept empty assurances. Leo's leadership was instrumental in keeping the movement peaceful and focused. He emphasized the importance of unity and nonviolence, urging his followers to channel their anger into constructive action. As the movement grew, so did the government's efforts to suppress it, leading to heightened tensions and confrontations. Chapter 7: A Dangerous Alliance. As Alara and Marcus delved deeper into the IMC's secrets, they realized they needed allies outside the organization. They reached out to Leo, knowing that his influence and network could provide the support they needed. Despite the risks, Leo agreed to help, recognizing that their goals were aligned. Together, the trio formed a secret alliance, pooling their resources and expertise to expose the syndicate. They planned a coordinated operation to release the evidence to the public, aiming to trigger a global outcry that would force the IMC to reform. However, the syndicate was aware of the growing threat. They had spies within the reform movement and were determined to protect their interests at any cost. Alara, Leo, and Marcus knew they were walking a dangerous path, but they were driven by the belief that their actions could change the world for the better. Chapter 8: The Countdown. As the day of the operation approached, tensions ran high. Alara and Marcus worked tirelessly to finalize their plans, while Leo rallied the movement, preparing them for the pivotal moment. The trio knew that success depended on precise timing and coordination. The plan was simple yet audacious. During a major protest in New Haven, they would release the evidence online, ensuring it reached millions of people worldwide. The protest would serve as a distraction, allowing them to operate under the radar while the world focused on the unfolding events. As the countdown began, Alara reflected on the journey that had brought them to this point. She thought of the countless people who had suffered under the current system and the hope that their actions could bring about a brighter future. Despite the danger, she felt a sense of purpose and determination that fueled her resolve. Chapter 9: The Day of Reckoning. The day of the protest arrived, and New Haven was a sea of people. Banners waved in the air, and chants of "Leaves of Justice" echoed through the streets. The atmosphere was electric, charged with a mix of hope and tension. Leo stood at the forefront, his voice steady and inspiring as he addressed the crowd. Meanwhile, Alara and Marcus were in a makeshift command center, surrounded by screens displaying live feeds and data. The countdown was in its final minutes. As the clock struck noon, they initiated the release of the evidence, sending it cascading through the digital world. Within moments, the documents went viral. News outlets picked up the story, and social media buzzed with outrage. The evidence was irrefutable, detailed records of the syndicate's manipulation and corruption. The public's response was immediate and overwhelming, with demands for accountability echoing across the globe. Chapter 10: The Unraveling. The IMC was thrown into chaos. As the truth spread, governments worldwide faced mounting pressure to dismantle the corrupt system. High-ranking officials were arrested, and investigations were launched to root out the remaining members of the syndicate. In New Haven, the protest reached a fever pitch. The authorities, initially prepared to suppress the demonstration, found themselves overwhelmed by the sheer number of people and the intensity of their demands. The government's attempts to control the narrative crumbled in the face of undeniable evidence. Leo's leadership was crucial during this critical juncture. He urged the protesters to remain peaceful, emphasizing that their victory lay in maintaining the moral high ground. His words resonated, and the protest remained a powerful yet nonviolent force for change. Chapter 11: A New Beginning. In the aftermath of the revelations, the IMC underwent a complete overhaul. A new leadership emerged, committed to transparency and fairness. The distribution of money tree leaves was restructured to ensure equitable access for all citizens, with mechanisms in place to prevent future corruption. Alara, Leo and Marcus became symbols of the movement, celebrated for their courage and determination. Their actions had not only exposed a corrupt system, but had also sparked a global conversation about economic justice and the role of government in managing resources. With the world watching, the IMC implemented reforms that prioritized sustainability and fairness. The money trees, once a symbol of inequality, became a shared resource that benefited all of humanity. The lessons learned from the past guided the creation of a more just and equitable society. Chapter 12: Reflections and Hopes. As the dust settled, Elara and Leo took a moment to reflect on their journey. They had faced immense challenges and risked everything for the sake of a better future. Their bond, forged in the crucible of struggle, was stronger than ever. Elara returned to her work, now part of a reformed IMC dedicated to transparency and accountability. Her insights and experiences were invaluable in shaping the new policies that governed the distribution of money tree leaves. Leo continued to inspire through his music, using his platform to advocate for social justice and equality. His songs, once a rallying cry for change, now celebrated the progress made and the hope for a brighter future. Together, they looked toward a world where the bounty of the money trees was shared by all, a testament to the power of unity and the enduring spirit of humanity. This concludes the story of money trees. I hope you enjoyed this imaginative journey into a world where money grows on trees and the quest for justice and equality prevails.
Subscribe for more.